Hi, 5th grade. Welcome to another day of learning. My name is Miss Hall, and I am a 5th grade reading teacher at William Fox Elementary School. I'm so glad to be here with you today. For today's lesson, you are going to need something to write with, so a pen or a pencil. You're going to need a piece of paper or the printed papers from the RPS at home page. You're going to need whatever device you are watching me on, so you already have that. And then you're going to need a positive attitude. I know we're all kind of tired of being stuck at home, but we can have a great day of learning. So if you're missing any of those things, go ahead and pause this video and go grab them now. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, so today we are going to be working on compare and contrast. So those are the terms that you are going to need to know this week. So our learning intentions for today, so what we're working on that we want to be able to do by the end of this lesson is, so first I can identify the text structure, compare and contrast. So text structure, when we're talking about text structure, it's the way that a text is set up. So I can identify text structure, compare and contrast. We're going to be able to list signal words of the compare and contrast text structure. So signal words are those words that tell us that your text structure is compare and contrast. And we are going to list the similarities and differences of a fictional film. So I have a short Pixar short that we'll watch, and we'll talk about the similarities and differences in that video. So this is our agenda for today. So this is what you're going to do while you're on the video with me. So first, I'm going to have a warm-up that we're going to do. Then we're going to watch a vocabulary video and discuss certain parts of it. Then I'm going to talk to you about some vocabulary that you need for this unit. And then we'll watch that Pixar short that I was just talking about. So that's what we're going to be working on today. All right, so the first thing that you're going to need to do, so you can either print this paper from online or you can make it yourself. It's super easy to make yourself. So I'm going to show you how you would make it yourself. So you need to get a piece of paper. Yeah, you'll fold it in half like a hot dog, and then you're going to fold it into thirds, okay? And then you can unfold it. Our goal is just to have 6 different sections. So your paper is going to be kind of set up like what it looks like on the screen. So it'll look like this. You can draw your lines. That way you have 6 different boxes. Then you are going to label your boxes. So that first box, you're going to label it warm up. Then you're going to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 6 boxes total, but because the first one is called warm up, we only numbered 5. Okay? All right, so if you need a second to finish getting that set up, pause the video, make sure your paper's set up. If you're done, let's keep going. All right, so your warm up, so in this first box right here, you are going to write an S and a D. So I want you to look at this picture right here. Oh, shoot. Sorry. All right. So right here, I have a picture of an apple and I have a picture of an orange. So sometimes you might hear this saying, it's like comparing apples and oranges, okay? So what I want you to do for your warm-up, I want you to list one similarity of these 2 pieces of fruit. So that's what you would write by the S, and then I want you to write one difference of these 2 fruit. For your similarity, so something that they have in common, I want you to think of something more than they're just both fruit. So go ahead and pause the video and write down one similarity and write down one difference. All right, let's keep going. All right, so in a second, I'm going to start a vocabulary video and pause it several times throughout the video. As we are pausing, you need this recording page. So I'm going to ask you different questions throughout the video. So when I ask you the question, they're questions for you to think about. You're going to record your response in each box, okay? All right, let me open up the video. All right, let's
vocabulary. We're comparing and contrasting. Let's get it. Everybody's doing it. In fact, we do it all the time. We compare and contrast when we're in the store, deciding what cereal to buy. We compare and contrast when we pick up what movie to see, or what player we want for our fantasy football league.
All right, so the first thing you're going to do in the box that's labeled number 1, I want you to describe a time that you've compared and contrasted in your everyday life. So for example, this morning when I was drinking my coffee, I had to decide between putting in almond milk or putting in coffee creamer. And so I had to compare and contrast. I was like, oh, one tastes sweeter, the other one's healthier for me. So I want you to think about a time that you've had to compare and contrast and write it in box 1. Go ahead and do that now. If you need to pause my video for a second so you have time to fill it out, you can. I'm gonna go ahead and keep playing the vocabulary though.
I'll break it down for you. Comparing and contrasting, get with it. That's when you think how things are similar and different. When I compare things, I talk about how they're the same. When I contrast, it's the differences that I name. I analyze how they're similar and different. I look at them close, yeah, I get specific. I compare and contrast 2 books, 3 foods.
All right, so in box number 2, so this third box here, but it's labeled number 2, you are going to compare and contrast the pie, the pear, and the meat. How are they similar? How are they different? So you're looking at this pie, the pear, the meat. See if you can decide one thing that those 3 things have in common, so a similarity, and then see if you can find one thing that's different. Go ahead, pause my video and record that in box number 2. Once you have it recorded, press play again.
2 unicorn dudes named Hofi and Stu. Yeah, that's how we do. But what's even wiser, before I write, I'ma use a graphic organizer. A Venn diagram, yeah, I'll show you that. I just draw 2 circles that overlap. In the middle, I'll write whatever's the same. Just list the differences in the other spaces. With 3 things to compare, what should I do then? I could add a 3rd circle, so then let's get it in. I compare when I say how things are similar, like doll houses and ponies, both miniature. I contrast when I say how things are different.
All right, so in your, I think we're on our 3rd box. So in this box down here, box number 3, you are going to come up with a sentence that contrasts ponies and doll houses. So you have your pony, you have your doll house. See if you can write a sentence that contrasts the 2, so talks about the differences. Pause my video and get that written down in box 3.
Give examples and get specific. You get it? I compare when I say how things are similar or the same. Yeah, I bet that sounds so familiar. I contrast when I say how things are different. Give examples and get specific. You get it? Okay, I have to write an essay. Here's the prompt. Would you rather be a wolf or a domesticated dog? Domesticated dog is like a pet. I'ma compare and contrast. That'll help me pick. I use transition words to help my readers know that I'm comparing and contrasting. Here we go. First, I'll compare how they're the same. Both have fur coats for the wind, snow, and rain. Domesticated dogs love to play together. Similarly, wolf puppies will play in any weather. Pet dogs have paws. Wolves do as well. Likewise, they both will eat meat. Can you tell?
All right. So what I want you to do in box number 4 is answer that question. Which transition words were used in the previous lines? How did they signal that the author was comparing? So you're thinking about those words that tell us that we are comparing. So go ahead and see if you can record some in box number 4. You can pause the video to get those written down.
To see how they're different, let's contrast. Most wolves have longer teeth, and that's a fact. If a wolf gets sick, there's no medicine. In contrast, pets go to the vet, they let them in. Domesticated dogs don't worry about food, they get fed in a bowl. I bet they love it too. Unlike a wolf, which has to hunt, and if it can't find much food, they go hungry for months. A wolf can run free, do anything it pleases, while domesticated doggies are tied up with leashes. So while I might like to be a pet dog for a while, I want to be free. That's the call of the wild.
All right. For your last box, so in box number 5, you're going to answer this last question. So it says, cats are domesticated animals too. Would you rather be a dog or a cat? Compare and contrast dogs to decide on your answer and provide reasons to support it. So in one sentence in this last box, tell me, would you rather be a cat or a dog and why? Go ahead and pause the video and do that now.
I compare when I say how things are similar, like doll houses and ponies, both miniature. I contrast when I say how things are different, give examples and get specific. You get it? I compare when I say how things are similar or the same. Yeah, I bet that sounds so familiar. I contrast when I say how things are different, give examples and get specific. You get it?
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that video. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. All right, so what we're gonna do now, you can put your pencil down and just listen to what I have to say for a second. So I'm gonna talk through some of the vocabulary that you need to know. So our goal this week is that I can compare and contrast details in a text, okay? So that's what we're working on. So when we are talking about comparisons, so I know you probably already know this, but I'm just gonna review it real quick. So comparisons are our similarities, and these are some of our signal words that you see on the screen. So similarities, both, compare, the same as, the same, in common, alike. Those are all words that tell me things in common, or that means to compare, okay? Then I have my contrast words. There aren't quite as many signal words for contrast. So if we're talking about differences or our contrast, that would, our signal words that we might see would be differences, different, contrast. On the other hand, however, those are going to be some of my signal words when I'm talking about contrasting or telling the differences, okay? All right, so let's keep going. So originally what I had planned for this lesson was for us to watch a Pixar short from Disney, but it turns out Disney has really strict rules about what you can show on videos and what you can't. And so because of their copyright rules, I'm not allowed to show you their video. So instead of doing a Pixar short, which makes me sad, because that's one of my favorite things, we are going to be using a story called The Good Egg. All right, so I know this is a story you probably read when you were maybe in younger grades, and I know that we're in 5th grade, but for some reason my 5th graders love this book. So I think it is a good story for us to practice that skill with. It's pretty short, and it should be kind of a fun, light read. So what we're going to be doing, you are going to need your piece of paper back. You can fold your piece of paper in half like a hamburger, all right? And you are gonna set up a chart that looks like this, okay? I'm gonna share my screen with you because that's a little bit easier to explain how you need to set up your chart. All right, so this is what your chart is going to look like. So it needs to have 3 columns and then 5 rows, and you're gonna label this top row, the good egg, and then the other eggs. And then you're gonna number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so go ahead, pause your video, get your chart set up. All right, so now that your chart is set up, I'm going to explain to you what you're going to be doing. So as I read you the story, you're gonna listen to the story of the good egg. I'm going to pause a few times throughout the story. When I pause, you are going to track the character traits of the good egg, and you're going to track the character traits of the bad eggs. So remember, character traits are just like how you would describe a character. And then at the end of the story, we're going to compare and contrast the characters, okay? So I am going to exit out of here so that way you can see the pictures of the video. All right, so this is called The Good Egg, and it is by Gory John and Pete Oswald. And it's called The Good Egg. Let's see. Oh, hello. I was just rescuing this cat. Know why? Because I'm a good egg. A very good egg. It's true. I do all kinds of good things, like I'll carry your groceries, I'll water your plants, I'll change your tires, I'll paint your house. If you need help whatsoever, I'm your egg. I've always been a good egg. It's been this way from the start, even in my earliest days, back at the store. There were a dozen of us living together under one recycled roof. There was Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelly and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and other Frank. The other 11 eggs weren't on their best behavior. They weren't exactly good. They ignored their bedtime. They only ate sugary cereal. They threw tantrums. They cried for no reason. They broke their stuff on purpose. All right, so I'm going to pause here for a second, and you are going to need your chart, all right? So in this first row by number 1, I want you to write down one character trait of the good egg, and I want you to write down one character trait or describing word of the other eggs. So pause your video and get traits written down. All right, so you could have written down things like the good egg, he's pretty serious, he follows the rules. That would be character traits of him. And then for the other eggs, you could have said something like they're mischievous, they break the rules, words like that, okay? We're gonna keep reading and we'll pause again a couple more times and you're gonna do the same thing. Meanwhile, I tried to take charge. I tried to fix their bad behavior. I tried to keep the peace because I was a good egg, a very good egg. Nobody seemed to care though. Every night I was exhausted. My head felt scrambled. Aha, that's funny. Then one fateful morning, I noticed some cracks in my shell. Yikes, they were everywhere. My doctor said it was from all the pressure I was putting on myself, the pressure of making sure everybody was as good as me. I was cracking up, literally. Something had to change. I had had enough. I told Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelley and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and other Frank that I was leaving. I can't be the only egg in a bad carton, I said. Blah, 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 they replied. I left that night. All right, so I'm gonna pause here. Go ahead, pause your video and see if you can record another character trait by number 2 on your chart. So on your chart again, by this 2, record a trait for the good egg, record a trait for the other eggs. All right, so you should have recorded some character traits. And I'll keep reading. I wandered from town to town. The hours became days, the days became weeks. I lost track of time. I was alone. Out there on the road, under the stars, I really tried to focus on myself and what I needed. I took walks, I read books, I floated in the river, I wrote in my journal. I found simple moments to be quiet. I breathed in, I breathed out. I even started painting. For once, I found time for me. And guess what? Little by little, the cracks in my shell started to heal. My head no longer felt scrambled. I started to feel like myself again. All right, we're gonna pause here. We haven't read much about the other eggs, so if you don't have a trait for them, that's okay, but see if you can write down a new trait for the good egg by number 3. You can pause the video and get that written down now. All right, let's finish up our story. So I made a big decision. I'm returning to my old carton and my friends. Besides, I'm kind of lonely out here. This time I know what I need to do. I'll try not to worry so much. I'll be good to my fellow eggs while also being good to myself. Here we go. Everybody missed me. I missed them too. Hello, Meg. Howdy, Peg. Hello, Greg. Greetings, Clegg. What's up, Shell? Aloha, Shelly. Heyo, Sheldon. Hi, Shelly. Good day. Egbert. What's happening, Frank? Howdy do, other Frank. Sure, every once in a while, somebody's still a little bit bad, but it's not like before. Here's what I realized. The other eggs aren't perfect, and I don't have to be either. I'm okay with that. Yep, the old carton is back together. We're a solid dozen again. It is good to be home. The end. So that is the end of our story. So go ahead by number 4 in your chart, fill out a final character trait for the good egg and a final character trait for the other egg. Pause your video, and once you have that filled out, you can press play again. All right, so you should have your chart filled out. At the bottom of your chart, I want you to make a Venn diagram that looks like this. All right, so you're going to set up a Venn diagram and you're going to label your Venn diagram, so with your two circles. So label one the good egg, and label the other one the bad eggs, and then your middle one is going to be both. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video and see if you can use your character traits that you listed above to fill out your Venn diagram. So pause your video and fill it out. List character traits of the good egg, character traits of the bad egg, and then both. Go ahead and pause now. All right, so now that you've filled out your Venn diagram, yours might look similar to mine. You might have some different words than mine, and that's okay. So this is what I put on mine. So to describe the good egg, I said that he was serious, he follows the rules, and that he's stressed easily by the other egg's behavior. So those are things that I noticed in the story that were true only about him. The bad eggs, I said that they were silly, they were playful, they were mischievous, and they breaks the rules often. So they break the rules pretty often. Those were the traits I gave to the bad eggs. All right, but they did have some things in common. So one of the things I put on there is that they're both eggs. I know that one's really obvious. I put that they both enjoy their family. I could tell that, like when the bad eggs, or when the good egg went back to where the bad eggs were, they were excited to see him, and none of them are perfect. All right, so this is what our Venn diagram looks like. It's just a way to kind of compare and contrast our characters in the story. All right, so tonight for your homework, what you are going to do, so the first thing you're going to do, you're going to write one paragraph comparing and contrasting the good egg and the bad eggs in the good egg story. You need to remember to use your signal words. So those are our words that tell us to compare and contrast. So remember our compare words were both, similar to, the same as. Those are similar, those are comparing words, signal words. And then your contrasting signal words would be words like on the other hand, different from. Those are your signal words for contrasting. Once you write your paragraph, so you're going to write one paragraph comparing the bad eggs and the good egg, you are going to go through and circle your signal words, okay? Then, once you do that, you have three other options. All right, so you can play vocabulary. There's a compare and contrast vocabulary game you can play for 20 minutes. You log on through Clever for that. You can play iReady for 20 minutes, the reading one, or you can read a choice book for 20 minutes, okay? So that is all you have to do tonight. I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you have a great evening.